So let's just start off Thursday night football. We're gonna run through these scores, kind of give you a quick thought, and then we'll get into anything that seems interesting. First games first. Thursday night football. The season kicked off with the Cowboys and Eagles. The Eagles win 24-20. Jalen Hurts 152 yards passing. You had 62 yards on the ground, making up for 114 total, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So not a bad day for Jalen Hurts and the defending champion Eagles. The Cowboys fall to 0-1. Gerardo, was kind of like your main takeaway out of here?
CeeDee Lamb, despite those big notable drops in the game, I mean, he still went for 7 receptions for 110 yards. He's really looking like he is washing off what last year CeeDee Lamb was. He's probably going to be a top 2 receiver in the league this year.
Friday night, the Chargers and Chiefs met in Brazil. I feel like I went all week saying Mexico. They met in Brazil, and the Chargers came out victorious 27-21. Justin Herbert, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball, 24-39, 258 and a score, 57 yards and a score on the ground as well. But yeah, Chargers emerged victorious. What's your take on this one?
Justin Herbert's looking for an MVP-like season. He is making his other wide receivers outside of Ladd improve, and that's kind of what you want to see out of your elite quarterback.
Kicking off our Sunday afternoon, the Indianapolis Colts took on the Miami Dolphins and destroyed them. The Colts win 33-8. Daniel Jones, 272 yards and a touchdown in his debut as an Indianapolis Colts signal caller. Also had 2 scores on the ground, picking up for a 3-touchdown day. A little under 300 yards total purpose. Yeah, what do you make of this?
Obviously, the Colts have surrounded themselves with really good success. I mean, Daniel Jones did exactly what you would want in this Colts offense, but Miami is slowly but surely imploding, it seems like.
All right, team me up for this one, the Steelers and the Jets.
Steelers and the Jets, my man. Look, this was a big game for, I would say, revenge game for Aaron Rodgers, and he absolutely proved that he is still the man. 100%. He won 34-32. Justin Fields, also not a bad showing. Who would have thought him and Daniel Jones would be 1 and 2 for fantasy football quarterbacks? Daniel, the one thing I did like a lot about Justin Fields is that they really utilize his running ability in this game, especially now it's like him, Breece Hall, and as well as Allen with that running game. And also that opens up your game with Garrett as well, too, with Wilson. But the Steelers, all their new inquiries really showed out this game as well, too. So I would say good showing. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, there was a lot of beef going on, and him doing the final stop of the game really shows that this Steelers team is in it to win it this year.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers post-game reporter asks him, how do you feel after winning against this Jets organization, Aaron Glenn, that refused to even talk about bringing you back next year? And all he said was, I am very happy to beat anybody associated with the Jets organization. So
Amen.
Very good for him. We'll move on. The Jaguars beat the Panthers 26-10. Trevor Lawrence, 178 yards, a touchdown and a pick. But the star of this game is Travis Etienne, 16 carries, 143 yards. Great day for him. On the other side of the ball, not so much. Bryce Young with 2 picks. What do you make?
Bryce Young, all his progress he made at the end of the season after getting benched has literally been nullified. Now, we kind of picked him as like the un-MVP. Same thing with Dave Canales. Like, we were not looking too high on this, but it seems that Travis Hunter is going to be full-time wide receiver, part-time cornerback this year.
It certainly does. 6 catches, 33 yards. Down in the Bayou, the Saints took on the Arizona Cardinals, 20-13. The final, the Cardinals win. Kyler Murray, 21-29, 163 yards and 2 scores. On the other side of the ball, Alvin Kamara, 45 yards and a score. Marvin Harrison Jr. catches a touchdown. What do you make of this?
Kyler Murray starting off really strong. He was 21 for 29, 2 scores, but you kind of felt like you just wanted them to dominate a really bad Saints team. This Saints team is arguably across the board by a lot of people, probably not going to win more than 5 games at best this year, 2 for me. And I just kind of wish the Cardinals would have won at least by like 30 or more on this game, but a win is a win for them.
Commanders take on their division rival, the Giants, and they come out victorious 21-6. Jaden Daniels, 233 yards and a score. Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera, kind of a preseason superstar, 10 carries, 82 yards and a score. Deebo Samuel, 7s across the board, 7 catches, 77 yards. Russell Wilson, not a great day, 17 for 37, 168 yards, but he was their leading rusher with 44 yards on 8 carries. Yeah, the Giants are they're in for a painful season, I think.
Oh yeah. Their first 4 games of the season are absolutely bad. They're going to play the Eagles, they're going to play the Chargers, and they're going to play the Chiefs. They're going to probably start 0-4. That offensive line for the Giants is a huge concern. And for the Commanders, what a great addition that Deebo Samuel has been, also getting a rushing touchdown on 1 rushing attempt for 19 yards. The Commanders are looking to challenge the Eagles for the NFC East this year.
Yep. Okay. NFC South goes down to the wire. The Buccaneers and the Falcons. Bucks come up victorious 23-20 after a missed field goal from Younghoe Koo. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns. Michael Penix Jr. in his week 1 debut, 27 of 42, 298 yards and a touchdown. Bijan Robinson, 6 catches, 100 yards and a score. Your rookie of the year pick, Emeka Egbuka, 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bucks win 23-20.
Doesn't matter who Baker Mayfield's offensive coordinator is. The dude is just a straight up winner. On top of that, this is a game that the Falcons are going to look back this season and hope that they won. Bucks get themselves a solid road win within the division.
Yeah, for sure. Big win for the Bucks. They established early dominance in the division. Bengals and Browns took place. Classic AFC North rock fight. Neither team scores over 20. Bengals come up victorious 17-16. Joe Burrow, 14 of 23, 113 yards and a touchdown. Joe Flacco, 31 of 45, 290, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Anything notable out of this one?
Myles Garrett almost getting 3 sacks in 3 plays in a row, getting 2 on back-to-back. Surprisingly, the offenses on both these teams are very inept. You would have never thought that the Bengals would be coming out being this low-scoring game. For all those who drafted Jamar Chase in round 1 or also the number 1 overall pick in fantasy, you're probably a little bit upset on this first game performance, but at the same time, it's just week 1. It's an in-division opponent. I'm sure they're going to bounce back.
The Raiders travel to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. They emerged victorious in the first year of Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, 20-13. Geno, 24 of 34, 362, a touchdown and a pick. Drake May on the other side of the ball, big year for him, 30 of 46, 287, a touchdown and a pick. Kayshon Boutte, 6 catches, 103 yards. Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 103 yards. What's your takeaway?
Pete Carroll, one of the only coaches to get a win as a new head coach. Him and Liam Cohen joined that squad for week 1 wins for coaches. Geno Smith is looking like a stud with this offense with Chip Kelly out there. And Brock Bowers is going to be tied at number 1 by the end of the season.
49ers and Seahawks, another game that went down to the wire. 49ers emerged victorious 17-13. Our locks do not age well. Brock Purdy, 26-35, 277, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Christian McCaffrey, 69 yards in his bounce back game. 2 receivers went off today. Ricky Pearsall, 4 catches, 108 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 9 catches, 124 yards. Sam Darnold, kind of a mediocre pedestrian debut for him. 16 of 23, 150 yards. No picks, but they did have the crucial fumbles at the end. So what do you make of this NFC West slugfest?
49ers get a solid road victory. Winning in Seattle is never easy. Ricky Pearsall really emerging of themselves. Looking like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel will not be missed so far. But they did lose. Injuries did sneak up on them again. Their big weapon on offense went down, and he did not return to the game after he got hurt. And I believe that it's going to be their tight end.
George Kittle.
Yep, George Kittle, which started the game off really strong. Plus, he's 3rd in 49ers history in touchdowns. I would have never guessed that. But, yeah, strong win. Yep, it would be Jerry Rice, Terrell Owens, and then him.
Huh.
So, yeah, I would go with the 49ers getting a great road victory for them. But at the same time, Seahawks have a lot to be happy about going forward with that offense with Sam Darnold.
Cameron Ward kind of has an impressive debut, but just comes up short to the Broncos 20-12. Cam Ward, 12 of 28, 112 yards. Doesn't quite tell the whole story. I thought he looked fairly decent for a rookie playing behind that O-line, but the Broncos just kind of smothered him. Bo Nix, 25 of 40, 176 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. RJ Harvey has a really impressive debut, 6 carries for 70 yards. And Cortland Sutton, 6, 61, and a score. Cam Ward's debut. Broncos emerged victorious. What do you think?
Good, solid, gritty win for the Broncos. They definitely needed that. But Cam Ward against a really good defense looked absolutely nice against that defense. I mean, you wish you convert all those field goals into touchdowns. Then we're talking about that's how they would end up winning. But it's going to be a long season for the rookie, especially behind that offensive line.
The Packers, Micah Parsons' debut, they stomp the Lions 27-13. You'd think that this was a 2014 Aaron Rodgers-led offense, but nope. It's Jordan Love, 16 of 22, 188 yards, and 2 scores. Josh Jacobs as well, 19 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Jared Goff, 31-39, 225, touchdown, and a pick. Their leading rusher is David Montgomery, 11 carries for 25 yards. Sam Laporta, their leading receiver, 6 for 79. Are the Packers back as the front runner for this NFC North?
What I'm looking at is Jared Goff is very accurate as a quarterback, but no run game. That is going to be the biggest issue going forward for the Lions. And on top of that, this Packers defense is showing up. The big concern we had with them was their secondary, but Josh Jacobs getting 8 touchdowns in a row. So 8 touchdowns. So he averaged 8 games in a row with a touchdown. Been very consistent up there in Green Bay, has been a very underrated signing for them.
All right, last game of the window. The Rams take on the Texans in SoFi. It's a rock fight, and the Rams emerge victorious. Matthew Stafford, 21 of 29, 245, and a touchdown. Kyren Williams, 66 yards and a touchdown. CJ Stroud, 19 of 27, 108 yards, and a pick. This one was physical.
Yep. Texans have an elite defense, but the big concern with the Texans was 2 things entering this offseason: offensive line and play calling. We still have those concerns with the Texans, it seems like. And CJ Stroud is not looking good alongside that heralded 2023 NFL quarterback draft class. Him, Anthony Richardson, and Bryce Young, all very much disappointing since they've been drafted. The Rams getting a solid win. It was not a pretty win, but they got the job done, especially going to be inside that tough division out there in the NFC West. But a lot more questions than answers that we have for the Texans.
All right, and that's your quick recap. The Bills are up on the Ravens 7-3 as we speak now. Where do you want to start?
Obviously, let's kick things off with the Eagles and Cowboys. I think we'll just go game by game on that one. For me, the Eagles, just a well-rounded team. And yes, you are going to have players like A.J. Brown not go off because other players are going off. Like Dallas Goedert was really solid for the Eagles that game. Jalen Hurts had a really good rushing game. So there's a lot of mouths that you got to feed on that offense. So it doesn't surprise me if A.J. Brown goes off, but Saquon Barkley doesn't. I'll be surprised if Devontae Smith goes off, but Dallas Goedert doesn't. They have set up this team very well to attack NFL defenses so many different ways. And that's kind of like a great position why both me and you believe that they could return back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. I was really impressed with the Cowboys fight. They never lied down. They took an early lead and they kept up through every punch that if Philly had to offer, the Cowboys matched. At some point, the talent just was too much to bear. There was a distinct coaching advantage as well. I know that nobody's really high on Nick Sirianni as an X's and O's guy, but I just think through that organization, the coaching is a little better. But the Cowboys, I thought, for a Micah Parsons-less defense, for a team that should be in the dumps, didn't quit, and they're going to be a harder opponent to beat than we thought going into this week.
Oh yeah, I think only holding them to 24 points, especially that offense, you would have thought also losing Micah Parsons and stuff like that would have been a huge concern that they were going to attack them, especially on the pass rush. But it seems that, I mean, they only made it a one-score game. Now, granted, the big talking point, kind of like how I mentioned, was the CeeDee Lamb drops, the crucial drops that he had in those games in that moment. And despite that, a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is the old CD," and I'm like, "Y'all know he still caught 7 catches for 110 yards. Like he still went off. Like, and especially having George Pickens, like that is going to do nothing but be really good for Dak." And how me and you talked about, ultimately, this trade is going to be graded on upon how well the Cowboys are actually going to look without Micah Parsons, and the fact that most of their wins are going to come from Dak and how he performs. And due to 2 unfortunate drops by CeeDee Lamb, they were in this game all the way to the very end.
Yeah, no, certainly. Javonte Williams also had a pretty impressive bounce back for his career. Desperately needed.
100%, yes. And then going on to the Friday game, we had the Chargers against the Chiefs. Chargers getting a very, very good win against the Chiefs. The Chiefs going down 0-1 in this division is great for the rest of the division because everybody else won. Broncos won, Raiders won, Chargers won. And Chargers are definitely especially happy because, especially after last year, our big concern we had with Justin Herbert was, when is he going to take that elite level step, especially with Harbaugh? And this game, he absolutely showed it. He made a almost potential bust in their wide receiver from TCU look good. He got 2 touchdowns that game. And Lat McConkey is absolutely solid. The run game is nice. Hampton is a really good
Keenan Allen
player.
is not washed, apparently.
Oh, exactly. Somehow he just took a vacation with the Bears and came back just as good as he was when he was with the Chargers. And also the fact that the Chargers defense closing out, only giving the Chiefs 21 points. That sounds like a very solid Chargers defense for them to do that. Derwin James, they lost Bosa, but they have Khalil Mack still, and Khalil Mack looks like an ageless wonder over there in that defense.
Yeah, sure, certainly. 27-21 out in Brazil. They get a big win. The Colts debut with Daniel Jones, 33-8. We look like we're vindicated with with the Dolphins maybe being the worst team in football this year.
Yeah, this is the type of loss that you definitely don't want with that type of culture. Both me and you already discussed that.
On eggshells.
Yes, they needed to win by a lot. Like they needed to win this game, and they also had to show some type of promise that, oh, okay, this offseason BS wasn't that big of a concern. To be scoreless all the way, I believe, until the fourth quarter, right? Like they were getting literally shut out by, yes, the Colts defense, I would say maybe it's top half of the league on paper, but it's nothing to write home about, especially when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua. There is no reason that you should be putting up 0 points against that defense. And on top of that, too, the Colts offense so multidimensional. You have Pittman, you have Pierce, you have Warren who went off this game. You have also their running game is back. Their offensive line played solid. And the fact that Daniel Jones run for 2 touchdowns as well, too. They are looking, this is what they wanted to look like with Anthony Richardson. And I think with Daniel Jones playing smarter and not harder and making the right throws and making the right decisions is going to go a very long way for this Colts team. And they may be looking like the AFC South champs right there with this team, especially with this.
Yeah, with the Texans looking as unimpressive as they were, with the Jaguars, I mean, you can
very mid,
lukewarm kind of win.
Yes,
doing what they're supposed to. And the Titans, I mean, kept up with Denver. Who knows if that's a slow Denver start or a hot Tennessee start? The Colts, you got to look at them like, oh, they're in business, at least for AFC South standards.
And mind you, like going back to about the culture thing with the Dolphins, like Colts also had a culture problem with last year with Anthony Richardson doing the tap out. This is what you would want to see if your culture was on eggshells or there was any questions about your culture. It's a solid team win where every facet of your team won. So special teams, you had defense and offense clicking on all cylinders, and not just passing offense, running offense, rush defense, pass defense. So the Colts probably have like the best, to me, the A+ grade for them on this victory.
My guy Zach Wilson saw some playing time too. 5 for 8, 32 yards. Could happen. Anything can happen any given Sunday, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's next? We have the Steelers and the Jets. The Steelers coming out victorious 35-32, ending on maybe like the most physical final play I've ever seen. Jalen Ramsey putting Garrett Wilson in the dirt on a 4th down ball. Just super impressive. Aaron Rodgers looks as good as ever with 4 touchdowns. Not in garbage time. Like that dude played well. And the Jets do what the Jets do. They start out 0-1.
Yep. Aaron was surrounded by a good group of leaders that wasn't just him. I think the biggest issue he had when he was with the Jets is he had to be the ipso facto guy every single time in a very volatile, like toxic place that is the New York Jets. And where their head coach, they had a guy who was a teenager running the team as GM. Like it was the Jets owner, all this other BS that was coming with the Jets. Like when you have a toxic environment, that tends to lead to losses. Where if you have those type of problems and you have Watt, you have Hayward, you have guys who have won in this league. Also, Mike Tomlin is he tends to have a very good locker room. And plus, he's never had a losing season since he's been in the NFL as a head coach. And that's where that's the difference between how they won this game compared to how they would have lost this game. Like they would have lost this game if they did not have a tight locker room. They won this game because guys like Jalen Ramsey, who they brought in, won them the game. Guys like Cameron Hayward stepping up after getting paid today. He also got $18 million essentially extension as well too. Paying all these guys. DK even looked nice with them. And Austin's a very underrated guy for that wide receiver core as well too for them, and Skoranek as well too. Don't be surprised that all the other guys that you are unheard of. Same with Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith also looked very impressive with Rodgers coming in with that package deal with Ramsey and sending over Micah Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins. And I just think that was a super solid win, and Aaron Rodgers proven that he's still playing at an MVP, above average to Pro Bowl level starting quarterback play.
Totally agreed. I don't have too much to add.
If you want to talk about Jets, it would be that if their offense sticks to this plan of heavy rushing and using essentially 3 running backs with Fields,
use all your tools. Yeah.
Yes, like I love that idea for the Jets. I think that is you can steal a win within division. They're going to beat the brakes off of Miami at home and away from home, seeing what I just saw. And that helps open up that passing game with Wilson. But I think with the lack of offensive line that they have, using Justin Fields' legs and their 2 rushing attacks like that, and Breece Hall is a legitimate offensive weapon and also in the catching game. Like, that is a good plan to have forward with them. I think they have a little bit more positives to have on their offense. Defensively, they are still a little bit struggling. Sauce Gardner's not returning to form that he had his rookie year.
No, not at all. Okay. the tomato can game of the week, the Jaguars and the Panthers. 26-10, Jaguars win. If you watch this game and you're not a Jaguars Panthers fan, I think you're entitled to financial compensation. I can't imagine that this was at all entertaining for anybody.
No, it was a game that I was kind of focusing on a lot because, seeing Trevor Lawrence, seeing he does need to step up this year. This is a huge make or break year for him. Hunter as well too. And then just seeing how this young Jaguars team is going to perform. Before the weather delay, they were not looking good. I was like, this is a really bad game on both ends. Like it was 3-3, 10-3. And I was just like, godly, like there's no offense on either side of these. And this is going to be a very boring game. Like, it's not like the Panthers defense is nice. It's not like the Jaguars defense is at elite level to be holding this inept offense that is the Panthers to like that. But then once the delay came back, Brian Thomas scored a touchdown. ETN went off. And then that defense for the Jaguars kind of showed its youth and showed that it's ready to step up in big times. The big takeaway is the force feeding of Travis Hunter. 6 catches is a lot of catches for a rookie. And also the fact that he's kind of, you would say, what, 75% of the time he's a wide receiver and 25% of the time he's a DB, and 6 catches. Like, I was taking him on Prize Picks to get a touchdown. I was fully convinced that they were trying to get Duval as hyped as that, but Liam Coleman gets a win. A win is a win, and that's a good start for his career. Only 1 out of 2 coaches, him and Pete Carroll, like I mentioned, both getting victories as new head coaches for week 1. All the other coaches lost. New head coaches everywhere else in the NFL lost.
Yeah, I wish I had more for you on this game. Besides, ETN might not be as washed up as we might have thought.
Yeah, and I mean, if you really want to talk about the Panthers, I mean, Bryce Young literally eliminated all his progress he made last year. Like, that is,
looks like the same old guy.
We are back in the conversation of what are we doing here? Like, y'all traded up with the Bears to get him number 1 overall, and it is really biting y'all in the ass for this. And Tet, 1 catch for 11 yards, and the most notable play is because it happened against Hunter. Other than that, there's no wide receivers here. There wasn't, even when Thielen was there. Like, it's going to be a long season for the Panthers. They're probably looking back at picking number 1 overall again, or in that realm of a top 5 pick. And now we're having a discussion. What do you do with Bryce Young?
Yep. And speaking of teams that are contending for the number 1 overall pick, the New Orleans Saints took an L to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, this Kyler Murray, I know you were harping on him that it needs to be our make or break year for him. He did start off strong. Yeah, good start though. I would kind of hope that they would beat the brakes out of the Saints, especially the fact that they have nothing literally to gain for this year. And they are just throwing the ball. They don't really care because, I mean, their starting quarterback had like so many. Rattler had like what? I think like almost in the 40s in passing attempts.
46.
Yeah, you are slinging the rock all the time. And the Saints are just going to be in contention for the number 1 overall pick this year. Their team is not really well equipped. And the fact that their new rookie head coach, he gets a free season just to deal with this garbage. But you would just hope the Cardinals, you would think that based on paper, they would score at least more than 20 points. They have a good running game. They have a great tight end. They have Marvin Harrison stepping up to be the billing of what we all thought he was going to be last year. But remember, he did kind of have a slow start last year, but then he popped off 1 game, and then there was nothing to be seen after that. But
great start for Kyler.
Mm-hmm. Good start for them.
And good start for Marvin Harrison Jr., 71 yards and touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Showing a little bit of dog. Okay, where are we? We are at the Commanders and Giants. 21-6. Not great.
No, it was for the Giants. No, like, it was bad. I mean, the fact that Russell Wilson was your number 1 rushing threat.
When your quarterback is your leading rusher and your name's not Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels or Josh Allen, Kyler Murray even, you're in trouble.
Yeah, when it's Russell Wilson, it's a big concern. That offensive line is trash. It is really bad. On top of that, too, their offensive weapons really didn't. But also, when you have an offensive line, you're not protecting as long. And that Commanders defense is legit, though. It is a solid team. It's probably going to be in the top half in the league because how talented they are, especially having Deron Payne there, too. They have a great linebacking core out there as well. And also, Dan Quinn knows how to coach good defenses. He's a great defensive-minded head coach. The big one is the fact that, even though Scary Terry paid all that money, I mean, Deebo Samuel showed up this game, and giving Jaden Daniels another offensive weapon, that is definitely what you need with a young quarterback. And for him to step up and to score and to provide all those yards to set them up in scoring position, that's going to be really good. But me and you kind of predicted about the Giants having a very, very rough start to the season, and it does not get any easier. This was probably, what would you rate this after week 1 compared to their upcoming opponents, which is the Eagles, Chargers, and Chiefs? This was probably their most winnable game.
This is the easy end.
Yeah, this was their most winnable game. And for them to only do 6 points and look as poor as they did offensively, it's going to be a very long season.
I will say 21 points out of the Commanders, a team that was just in the NFC Championship game. You want better. You want better than that.
You do. That would the only negative aspect I would say, yeah, about the Commanders is you kind of wish they would won like 35 to like 10 or something like that, or at least get to the 30s.
They needed more points. But
Wait.
they had fucking 432 yards total on the day, so
Yeah.
not a bad day. Bengals and Browns. God damn, the slugfests are just piling up.
Yeah, it's very much week one. Defenses are really showing up here. I mean, if you thought the Jags and Panthers game was boring, this one was boring too.
Yeah, guys like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and you can only muster 17 points against this Cleveland defense. Like you said, Joe Burrow got sacked 3 plays in a row, 2 of them by Myles Garrett.
And at the end of the game, and also the fact that Joe Flacco has as many passing attempts as he almost is as old as he is. 45, and he's like what, in his 40s now?
Yep.
Like, that is a lot of attempts for that team. And it was just not, they have no, well, mind you too, the Browns have no rushing attack.
Nope.
At all.
Quinshon Judkins did sign a contract. He's got like a 2-week roster exemption. So he could play eventually. Just throwing it out there. Maybe that'll help things, but there was no run game to be found for Cleveland.
No, and barely a passing game. I mean, Judy, yes. I mean, I believe, 18, 19 for him. The other wide receiver that they have there wasn't.
Tillman.
Yep. Wasn't too bad. And Njoku was a non-factor, I believe, in this game. But the Bengals, the biggest one is, excuse me.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, first day back in football. But the Bengals, I mean, godly, Chase and Burrow, just like, it's a win, but like, you're not impressed by this win at all. To win just by 1 point against a Browns team.
Well, I am impressed that they won week 1.
Yes, this is a game that it does say they lost written all over it. Like, it looks like they would have lost like 20-17, 19-17. So I would say it's a very solid win. The fact that they got a win is a plus, but outside of that, it wasn't pretty.
Speaking of solid wins, the Las Vegas Raiders travel to Foxborough, take on the Mike Vrabel Patriots, and they win in Foxborough 20-13. The game was really 20-10. Patriots kicked a field goal to try to set up the onside kick. Didn't work out. 20-13. Read this how you will. I don't want to expose our biases here, but this game was heavily invested in.
Oh, yes. But I would say all around wise, it is still, I mean, Pete Carroll has been in this league, has been incredibly successful in this league. And to bring in Geno Smith, a guy that he trusts, a guy that he made lead the league in not only passing completion, but also yards when he was at Seattle. He brings in a guy like Chip Kelly, who just won a national championship at Ohio State, gets their first round running back who looked like a stud. And I was always a little bit concerned with the Raiders on the wide receivers, because especially like you have tight ends, you have Michael Mayer, and you also have Brock Bowers. But
no, I said that I don't think the receivers on this team are something to write home about.
And
yeah, and Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton all had really good days.
Yep, and mostly Geno Smith. I mean, over 300 yards passing, look phenomenal. But that's kind of like what you're expecting with if you're following the Raiders, that with his completion percentage being that high, and the fact that Brock Bowers looked absolutely like a stud this game too. He really tore up the middle of the field. Same thing with also utilizing Meyer. So that means like you really don't need an elite wide receiver, especially the game plan that you have with Geno Smith with this offense. I think it's a very well-rounded. For the Patriots, I mean, I think eventually down the line you're gonna dot your I's and cross your T's with some of this. It is still week 1. Most oftentimes than not, I always say that the first 4 weeks of the NFL season is the true preseason. Teams that won today may have a losing record. Teams that lost today may end up going to the playoffs. We truly don't know. I think only losing by, it was 7, but it was really 10 throughout the game. Still a little bit on the positive note on that, because remember, Drake May is literally his only second year, and he has a new offense around him. I think the only concern would be like, who's your true weapon on your offense?
They don't have one.
And that would be the big concern with this young quarterback, is that you kind of need a dude
Well, they do have one. His name is 6th-round pick Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah.
6 catches, 103 yards.
He's looking like a stud, but it was kind of like you kind of need like an elite level guy. Like if you were to get, not really necessarily like if Deebo Samuel was there, that's at least a consistent dude. Or like when Terry McLaurin was out there with trade
Stephon Diggs was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But also, outside of the early performance with the Texans last year, Stephon Diggs was not Stephon Diggs no more. Like once he went to the Texans, you kind of knew that the Bills, Stephon Diggs, late Vikings, Stephon Diggs was over with.
We knew this was going to happen, but King Henry is alive and well.
King Henry is out here still doing king things.
But
you're right.
Can I get my 2 cents on the Patriots?
Yeah, go ahead.
The improvements that they needed to make were not visible today. They still can only score. They can only muster 1 touchdown a game. They couldn't move the ball efficiently at all. The rookie kicker sucks. Listen, Mike Vrabel probably not Mike Vrabel. Gerard Mayo probably loses this game 20-0.
Yes.
Mike Vrabel, he might not be the coaching bump that we thought. And like I said at the end of the preseason, going into the regular season, I didn't really like the vibes coming out of Foxborough with the way that they transitioned from preseason to regular season, and I think that played out today. Drake May 30 for 46, 287, a touchdown and a pick. The pick was very weird, to say the least. But no, I didn't see the improvements that you want to see if you're a Patriots fan, and it could be a week 1 overreaction. But I think there's a really strong chance that the Patriots, they're not a winning record team this year.
And as of right now, while you said that, Lamar Jackson just rushed in for a touchdown, so they are up 17-7 against the Bills. So they're rushing
pending this PAT, but you got to assume.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think, but there's still a lot. I think if you were to tell me that this is a 13-point like difference compared to Gerard Mayo, because I agree with you. I think you may have not even gotten a touchdown if Gerard Mayo was your head coach with this team, which the Raiders are a legitimate team. Like if the Raiders were
vastly improved to last year.
And that's what I think that's a little bit more of the positive on that is the fact that like this is a game that Gerard Mayo would have if you would have said, we have unbelievable offensive concerns because y'all didn't put any like legitimate points. I think Drake May still throwing for almost 300 yards is a super positive thing about that. Cause like your sophomore year is probably one of the most important years as a young quarterback. For instance, 3 guys that we talked about who had really bad sophomore years or regressed, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Bryce Young. Like their sophomore seasons were really bad or lack thereof. And where I think Drake May is going to have a really good step up and y'all going to win some games that you would have easily lost last year with this squad.
That's the bare minimum. But does that lead to the 10 wins that I said in the preseason? I don't know.
Well, you're going to get 2 off the rip from the Dolphins. It seems like.
I believe we beat the Dolphins in Miami when we see it. But the last time we beat them, they were in similar horrible fashion. Like that was 2019, where like it was the Antonio Brown game when we had him for a couple of seconds.
The rookie though from Ohio State looked really nice. Though.
Henderson looked like a real weapon. They stuck with Stevenson too long through the game. He just doesn't have it anymore.
That was also, I would say, the bigger concern was the commitment to Stevenson for as long as they did when the rookie looked that good. I was just like,
even Gibson looked really good in comparison.
Yeah, I would say Ramondre Stevenson is now 3rd string. I would say
he should be. We'll see how that goes. All right, Niners and Seahawks. Our boy Sam Darnold's debut as a Seattle Seahawk didn't quite go how we wanted it to. Brock Purdy, 26 to 35, 277, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. What do you make of this game?
Despite losing Kittle early on, they still persevered. Biggest takeaway, the kicking game for this 49ers is going to cost them so many.
Special teams is awful.
This is one of the worst kicking performances I have ever seen. Their special teams is horrendous.
And it always is.
Yeah. Like their commitment to this pick of Moody is going to be the detriment of this team's success this year. What it like good for Ricky Pearsall stepping up. I would have not expected that to him to make the jump that he did this year. Good for them. I mean, Christian McCaffrey also was like a little bit of a last minute clearance because he had a calf issue coming in, but also Robinson didn't look too bad also with that offense. But the injury concerns are coming back right again. We already had CMC get a little bit of injury concern. The fact that Kittle had an injury concern as well too, but solid win to win in Seattle. Was a game that they probably had no business winning, especially if I were to tell you, oh, George Kittle's going to get injured this game, like and the 49ers kicking game is going to be unbelievably bad, you would have probably been like, oh, the Seattle Seahawks are probably going to come up on top on this.
Well,
But
NBC Sports is reporting that George Kittle and Jawan Jennings are going to have MRIs this week. So,
yeah,
and they hope to sign Kendrick Bourne.
There we go.
That'll fix it.
But no, I think you have a lot more positive things to say about for Seattle than you do with the 49ers. 49ers are
no, the offense wasn't totally dysfunctional. They just need to finish drives.
Yes, it's a solid C, but I just need to see you finish. Like Cooper Kupp, very lackluster first game for him. He's only going to get better. Same thing with Darnold with this offense. They have a good rushing attack with those two running backs.
Charbonnet and Walker. Yeah.
Yep.
Walker was kind of a dud through most of the game, but Charbonnet did have the touchdown.
Yep. And then on top of that, too, you also have JSN is looking really good. He's
like a true wide receiver one.
Yeah. There's a reason why they moved on from DK and Lockett for Kupp and him. I think they have a lot to be positive about over there. Just a solid win for the 49ers to win away at Seattle. It's a tough place to win.
Speaking of tough places to win, Mile High Stadium, Denver versus Tennessee. Denver came out victorious for guy Cam Ward. Kind of the stat sheet you feel really doesn't tell the whole story.
If you watch that game, you would be vastly impressed by a lot of people, a sneaky Super Bowl team. And also
everybody's sneaky Super Bowl team. At one point, does it not?
No more.
At what point does it not become sneaky?
Right. And on top of that, too, the fact that it's in Mile High Stadium, that's a very good defense. And that defense closed out the game for them. The Titans have a really long way to go off for their offensive line. I think Pollard looked nice, though. I'm liking what they're doing with offense, especially outside of Ridley. I'm thinking Cam Ward is making those guys look good, which is good signs for what a franchise quarterback is supposed to do. These other guys, and we have no idea about, Cam Ward is making them get passing the ball to make them get open and look good. Eventually, him and Ridley are going to have a connection, and then when he's not getting locked up by Patrick Surtain in that defense, they are going to look nice.
The Packers kicked the shit out of the Lions 27-13. The score does not tell the whole story. This was this was a 3-4 possession game through the entirety of it.
This felt like the Packers won 48-10.
This felt like 2015 Aaron Rodgers led Packers.
Yeah. And it was like 09 led like pre-Matthew Stafford Lions. This offense was inept, to say the least. No rushing attack, and that really was a big identity for what the Detroit Lions like to do offensively, especially with Gibbs, especially with Montgomery. Like, how that opens up a whole lot of stuff, especially with Sam Laporta at tight end and the new paid wide receiver.
Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, who I did not realize was a 1,000-yard receiver last year when I sent you that text. But still, for one good year, I'm not paying him 3/83. Not happening.
That was it $67 million guaranteed as something well like too. Yeah. It's they're suffering a lot from losing their coordinators. They are. And we are going to see, especially against the Bears and Vikings game, whether or not that's going to be a good thing for the Bears or a all-around bad thing. Now, Ben Johnson isn't a good head coach, and the Lions miss him. But, also for Aaron Glenn, giving up 34 points for that Steelers offense is not a good look if you're a defensive coach.
No.
So if the Bears lose tomorrow, that's a big loss for all of Detroit-ish, like off season. Micah Parsons got a sack this game. They utilized him all over the place, and him and Rashawn Gary and Van Ness look good.
I know for sure. Packers seem to be the early favorites to the NFC North.
Mm-hmm. And Josh Jacobs is so solid, such a good player.
Last but not least, the Houston Texans lose to the Los Angeles Rams 14-9.
Jesus, dude. I mean, Texans have an elite defense and is going to be pissed away because their offense and their offensive line. Like, they really, if they were scoring touchdowns, if you converted that to 3 different touchdowns, so up 21, and they would have, the Rams probably don't score as much. And that, like Henry Tua, or their middle linebacker, number 39, he's an ex-Tennessee guy. He looks really solid. You also got their first round pick, and Anderson looking really solid. Derek Stingley went out for a little bit, came back, looked unbelievable as well too. Petrie,
no, they took it to maybe the best coached offense in football.
Mm-hmm. And they look solid. The Texans, if I tell you their defense really stepped up against this Rams team and held them to 14 points, you would have assumed that they won.
They probably won, yeah.
But Nico, no offensive wide receivers were atrocious this game. They're running back.
Jaden Higgins was their leading receiver, 2 catches, 32 yards.
There you go. And mind you, this is also a make or break year relatively of CJ Stroud. He has regressed since his rookie year. He has gotten
not
worse.
What you want to see out of the early steps.
And the biggest excuse that was made for CJ Stroud, for all CJ Stroud believers, was his offensive play call and his offensive line was bad.
Well, now, same case here.
Yeah. Okay. Same paragraph, different font. What is the excuse now? Is it still offensive line and play calling is bad, or are we seeing a regression from the quarterback?
And again, the Rams are a tough defense themselves.
Yes, they are.
Very young, very physical, very underrated unit. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to really be focused on the Texans throughout the season. Like, okay, give them a softer matchup. They got a soft division between the Jaguars and the Titans and the Colts. Like, well, maybe they're a little better than we thought because they all kind of had solid games, but I don't know if all that's sustainable, and maybe there's a bounce back waiting, but they have to wait. The Texans will have to wait till next week when they play the Bucks. Ooh.
Yeah. But when that was also a game we missed on was the Buccaneers and Falcons.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It's a good thing you mentioned them. The fun stat that I texted you while that was gone, the last 3 seasons, Baker Mayfield has led the NFL in touchdowns with 69. Nice. But the past 8 years, he has had 8 different offensive coordinators. And that does not have a recipe for success, but yet Baker Mayfield has been successful. The Browns ultimately that is the worst decision of all time, is to let him go. And he has made everybody pay. He's also a guy that you do not need to give him a bigger chip on his shoulder. Nope. You do not. He already is very determined. He's already a very strong candidate to be in MVP level conversations. And my dude, Double E, because I don't know how to pronounce his name,
Emeka Egbuka,
has been an absolute stud, winning them the game right there. 2 touchdowns to start things off. I mean, when you have 3 solid receivers on that team as well, and then they have a 2-headed rushing attack once that gets going as well too, and a solid win that they needed against the Falcons in Atlanta, a good divisional win to start off the year. And in that division where the Buccaneers, me and you picked them to cakewalk it, where the Panthers suck, the Falcons were their biggest threat.
And then start off behind the ball.
Exactly. And now down. Big thing, Penix looks really good for the Falcons. Penix, Drake London as well too. Pitts is looking very solid in this offense as well too.
Bijan
is a stud, bro. Over 100 at 100 exactly. Receiving yards, multifaceted offense. They could do so many things because they're just so big everywhere. They have big receivers, they have a big running back, and they can do so much different things with this offense. And I think they have a lot to look forward to. You have a lot more positives outside of their kicking game. Out of this game, especially compared to the Saints and the Panthers have nothing but question marks and concerns with their losses. Like the Panthers just needed I needed something else out of Bryce Young. 10 points is hot garbage for a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.